Alright. Screen. Entire screen. Second screen. Share screen. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen. Usually we would use the Logitech thing in the background, but guess what? One day, all of the desktop icons that were on this screen just moved over to the other screen I have to the left here. So I guess now we're going to use this as a canvas. So Ethan had the question of why Navarro retire, and thank you for asking the question, because I would have never had this as a topic, because who the hell knows what to talk about these days. Zenx rather said, I'm back on keto, Rashawn. Bring the kidney stones. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Alright, we'll give you some tips on how not to get fucked in the ass paws on keto, alright? Because your boy has been doing, little to no carb since 3 years ago. This month, 3 years ago. You know what I mean? So your boy knows what's going on. Even though, like I told you before, you had kidney stones, but your boy had like hemorrhoids or some shit for like 7 to 8 months. But I don't envy you at all, because I'd rather have hemorrhoids for 7 8 months than have a kidney stone once. So it is what it is, you know what I mean? But we'll get to that at the end of the show. We'll give Zenex some tips how not to get kidney stones. And Beavis can kick some rocks, because he's a undercook his chicken carb loader. So anyway, Navarro retired a few months ago. Ethan wants to know why he been did. All right. First of all, here's number one. He's an unk now. All right. I don't remember how old he is. I think he's younger than I am. He is younger than I am. But he's an unk. All right. Once you start getting into that late 20s, early 30s type shit, all right, even if you love to play games, right, you still don't have or can't delegate as much time to shit like this as you once did, right? Navarro was seen in game about a week or two ago, but he was only in game for a little bit, all right? At this point, that's probably as much time as he can dedicate to a server like this, alright? Once you start getting up to that unk status, it's very difficult to overwatch or be a part of a head of the server, you know what I mean? What is unk? Unk is when you're starting to get older, come on, alright? It's when you start to get older, alright? When you're in your early 20s and you're playing games, in your teens and you're playing games all day, all night, right? Then it feels natural. It's something like you're supposed to be doing. But as time goes on, you start getting to that late 20s, early 30s type situation, right? Unk is short for uncle. Come on, unk is short for uncle. So once you start getting to unk status, it's yeah, uncle, that's right. It's harder to keep up, or rather delegate time to something like this. Alright. 10, I mean, the server's been going on for 5 years, I guess, or 4.5, but it is what it is. Next, I mean, I guess this is kind of the same as up here, but he got shit to do. I mean, you knew that the man, I don't know if he's still in the UAE, but he was there for a good while, right? He's bounced between, I think, the UAE, Spain, and Brazil or some shit, you know what I mean? So my man is doing work, you know what I mean? I don't know what the scope of his work is, and maybe it's not some 5-day-a-week regular type shit, but as you get older, you got shit to do, you know what I mean? And when they got shit to do, it's harder to delegate time to a 5M server, you know? So it is what it is. Next. Let's say, I wish I could say this in few words, but let's say all the shit going on here. And when I say that, I guess I mean as of a couple months ago to 2 years ago, just the up and down emotion, you know, trying to make players happy type shit. When the 1-2-3 Gnag left, when, you know, trying to get people back, trying to, I don't know, I guess appease people or shit like that. Trying to get some certain updates, certain features going on, right? Which might lead into the next point. Maybe there could have been some burnout, you know? There could have been some burnout, right? Because at some point, as Now You Buggin' kind of said last week, when a game server no longer feels like a game server and starts seeming like work, and maybe, who knows, maybe running this server was more stressful than actual work, which was kind of wild. Or, right, this may have added to the stress of work, right? You never know, man. Never know. Probably one of these days Navarro might give us concrete reasons of why he got his ass out of here. But, you know, burnout could be a reason why, right? I mean, let's just add some more shit, right? That it felt like, let's get that out of here. Felt like a job, not a game. You know what I mean? Some shit like that. I don't know. Now, on the other side here, this is a little bit more daring, but I suppose the realization, although we probably knew this for a long time, that this ain't a game, ladies and gentlemen. Alright? It ain't a game. It's a business. Alright? And when you talk about businesses, everybody's talking about how, or some people are talking about how, oh, the donations keep the server alive and shit like that. Well, at some point, when you realize something is a business, you gotta put your own money into that shit, whether or not you get donations or not. Crazy Bomb, during his interview in January, he explained he was paying for the server. I don't remember how long he did, but he paid for the server for a long ass time, ladies and gentlemen. Right? Because the majority of people who are still playing this server over the last 1.5, 2 years, or probably longer of the Crazy Bob era, they're from a third world country, or they're from Europe, right? And they're not gonna donate to no SAMP server to not get a donation status, right? Because nobody's gonna donator status for the last couple of years, so nobody's gonna donate for no reason, even though that's what the donation's supposed to be. But you know, I think if Navarro had the mindset from the beginning that 5M servers aren't just like SAMP servers back in 2010, it's a business. You gotta put your money into it. You gotta put donation money into it. I know it's a homegrown type shit where all of the old time players of this community were devs, but that's not enough. It's not enough. Especially when the devs were motivated to serve. They were here to serve using their own free time. You know what I mean? It's different when you go on the Fiverr and get some guy to come on for money. If they're in for money, then they're committed. Alright? The server right now probably has one dev. As Jinisuke retired a few months ago, and Evan, breaking news, retired as a dev about a month ago or some shit. Alright? It's not sustainable to have people use their free time to dev up some shit, especially if they get shit on for it. Like, if you get paid for something and you get shit on for it, then at least you got paid. But when you're doing this shit for free, it's a net negative, really. When you could have done something else with that time and you get shit on for it anyway, then it's not a motivating factor to keep on going with using your free time to be doing dev shit, you know what I mean? But then again, Jinisuke, I think, also said that he was traveling or some shit, or he's still traveling or some shit, so he really can't do that. Assuming I'm not lying right now or misrepresenting that. He can't really do that. He can't really dev while traveling for an extended period of time anyway, so it'd been what it'd been. So, yeah, if Navarro, I think, thought of this server as a business at the beginning, then maybe he'd still be here. But then again, he would have had to pump some cash into this server. You know what I mean? Do we have another one? Another one. Ah, I see. So, this is tougher than I thought, man, because I don't want to put words in his mouth, man. I don't want to put words in his mouth. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Let's just write this down and maybe I'll take it back after. He didn't wanna be dictatorial, if I can spell that correct. Now, Navarro, or dudes thought that at the beginning of this server, when guys were complaining, oh shit, the admins were abusive. Actually, no, not even that. It was that Crazy Bob was a one-man army, and they thought that the one-man army model was a problem. So that when this server came up, if you had a cabinet of people that would decide on something, then it would be better for everyone. Lo and behold, years later, it turns out that people have gone against that idea. Not the same people, but some people. Some people have been like, ah, shit, well, one guy in charge is actually better than a committee. Which was the exact opposite of the thought that we got back in 2020 or 2021. Of that, having a committee is better, right? But I'm sure that there are some decisions that only Navarro could make, despite there being a committee of people at the top. And he probably just didn't want to make some of those decisions. I don't really know what. I can't really think of any single one off the top of my head right now. But I suppose only he would know, and maybe this would be putting words in his mouth. Alright? But he didn't want to be that Crazy Bob type guy, I guess, when the server needed the Crazy Bob type guy. You know what I mean? So he didn't want to be dictatorial, even though there are times when, even though the Borats, especially the Europs, will go against me, because I think the biggest fear of a Europe is when you feel like you're in some kind of communist, don't have any rights type situation, even though socialism is one step above. But he didn't want to be that guy calling the final shots, I suppose, for some things. You know what I mean? And that he might have rather had or wanted to have someone else make that decision, which, you know, is what it is. It can be that sometimes, you know. So I think we're good here. I don't think I have any other reasons or guesses as to why Navarro decided to bin retire. All right. I mean, I think after a while, although I just said we didn't have any more reasons, but okay, it's not good. The grind was too much, man, and it being a roller coaster. Right? I mean, the emotions, the roller coaster emotions of the server were just big. I remember back in the first closed beta when the server got like 65, 70 players. And everybody was happy. Everybody was so optimistic. Nobody in the back of their mind was like, you know, maybe there could be tough times coming in, right? And then the tough times came. There were 10 to 20 players. And then a summer 2023 or 2022 came up. And, jeez. 20, yeah, and, you know, there are players that came on. October 2023, the player count went down. The grind came back. The uncertainty came back. It was just a roller coaster of emotions, you know. And I guess the last straw was when Cecino went down. Was it earlier this year? And a bunch of players came on, and then once it came back, the player count went lower than ever. So just the roller coaster of emotions and the roller coaster of the player count was probably a big, you know, factor in the end of why he'd been retired. And I suppose, this will be the last one I'll put up, the certain uncertainty. And by that, I mean, even if at one point there were more players on the server, there was always a certainty that there would be more uncertainty. Because if there are more players coming on, we would know at some point they would go down again. And then he'd have to think of an idea again of how to bring the players back, and that goes right back into this roller coaster type shit, which I'm sure that he didn't really want to deal with. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Those are, how much are these? Nine. The 9 reasons, possibly, my thoughts of 9 reasons why Navarro decided to get his retire on. Hopefully at some point he'll get his ass on here and he will give us some thought or something. I don't know. That's what it'd be. New topic? There ain't no goddamn topic. Shout out to Ethan for giving us that topic, because I didn't think we were going to do that, to be honest with you. But topic? There ain't no goddamn topic. There ain't no shit to talk about. What are you talking about, bro? At this point, I think we gotta go back to the, how to fix Xenix's kidney stone problem or some bullshit. I don't know. That's what it'd be. You know, what are you gonna talk about? Fucking Iran and Israel? I don't fucking know, bro. Shit. I mean, what do you think? This is more than I thought we were. This is more than I thought we were gonna get into today, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about Abdel being part of the streets. Do I pray for Israel? Bro, listen. Let me just clear the screen right here. Hold on. Let me take a screenshot just to, you know. Let me just take a screenshot, you know what I mean? So we can put this somewhere one day. And we can clean this shit. Listen, man, I'm not on no goddamn sign, bro. Iran or Israel, I don't really give a damn, bro. All I care about is I hope that my gas prices don't go up. You know what I mean? Listen, man, yesterday I went to Costco and I paid $2.79 a gallon. I don't know what that is in Borat for gas, bro. Listen, whenever the war in Ukraine came in and they were sending the money to Ukraine, that shit went up, up, up. You know what I mean? So we ain't trying to have that. $2.79? Fuck you. Listen, Xanax, you from California, bro. First of all, here's the thing about California, man. And this is on topic because San Andreas or Los Santos, GTA 5 is in California. See, Californians get paid more, right? See, they get more money in California, get paid more, but the cost of living is higher in California, man. Floppa, lowest is 340. Where are you from again? Floppa said where he was from when Vegas, that's right. He's from Las Venturas. I mean Vegas ain't as bad as California, man. Especially Southern California. Xanax, you've been protesting, bro? Has someone paid you to go protest? That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that they're paying people in California to go protest. They're giving them $200 to go protest or rally or some shit, you know what I mean? Can't fucking spell. Gas right now is $2.68 a gallon in Texas, right? Yeah, man. They blocked the street with the protests? Whatever else. Why are they protesting in Vegas, though? Is it because that guy who was streaming got killed on the strip? That guy got smoked on the strip. Yup. Jesus, man. That's wild. These days, dudes are live streaming. This is why if I was famous, bro, I wouldn't live stream, man. Or, listen, if I had money, or if... Actually, no. Or, excuse me. If I had a choice to live somewhere else, bro, I wouldn't live in California, man. There's no way. You know what I mean? I saw a dude who works for Fox Sports, right? He lost a bet and he had to walk like 9 hours to get to the studio, and he was live streaming that shit. And I was like, bro, if I lived in California and I was famous, I would not live stream shit, bro. There's crazy motherfuckers in California, bro. They'll probably center in one where you at, and they'll probably shoot your ass, bro. It's Paul Pierce. It's like, bro, there's no way, man. Miss says California is too expensive, but the weather is amazing. Zedek said they got the food, the culture, and the women's. Too many Mexicans. Listen, man. Woman is woman, bro. Let me tell you something. Woman is woman, man. Unless they got green hair or some shit, you know? Unless they got green hair bullshit going on in California. Nah, man. I don't know about that. Do they got the green hair in Texas, miss? I know they got it in Austin and Dallas. But where you at? Do they got the green hair? The chaps. But nah, man. $4.50. What did he say? He said $4.50 a gallon for gas, bro. I don't know what that is in Borat, but bro. We ain't living in California, bro. No way. Oh, man. Absolutely no way we're living in California, man. You know, bless Xanax Paws for living in that state, man. I probably grew up in that state. Probably got used to that shit, bro. But, listen. I'd be scared as shit to go to some parts of California, man. There's a lot of mental health problems in fucking California, bro. This says you're black. You'd be okay? I guess. I'd guess. Well, I'll tell you. So I told this to I told this to Sampila. I told this to Sampila the other month. You know what I mean? I know we're getting off topic. We're not going back on topic, ladies and gentlemen. The NG part of the show is done. But I told this to Sampila the other day. I was like, this is not the best time. This may be actually the worst time in modern history to be white. You know what I mean? It may be the worst time in modern history in the West. Well, that's whatever. But it's the worst time, especially in America, I suppose, to be white. You know what I mean? Unless you're a white woman. But, you know, it's it is what it be. Huh? it's the worst time in modern history to be a white person. We're taking that shit back, you know what I mean? I'm growing up. And schools were trying to tell us how much victims we are, but I'm growing up and I'm like, hold on a second. Hold on a second. It's kind of tough out here for these white people, man. It's tough out here for these white people, man. So I'm like, damn, the tides have turned, man. The tables have turned. They really have. Miss says she gets bullied all the time by Zax for being white. Well, I think white women still get the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? They still get the advantages, man. You know, I think it's the white men that have it the worst these days, apparently. You know what I mean? So, shout out to the white men listening right now, alright? Especially if you're American, alright? I feel your pain, you know what I mean? And now Mrs. talking about nipples, bro. Jesus.